What is going on, gunfighters, aspiring gunfighters, little ones that dream one day of being a gunfighter? Welcome to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about guns, gunfighting, tactics, ballistics, survival, the right way, with God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. This week's going to be a little bit different. I did a series of short episodes. So if you're listening to this episode as a one-off, because this is the only thing you're interested in, that's fine. But realize it's part of a mini-series on lesser talked about, overlooked survival options. Talking about the quasi SBR 22. Talking about pistol conversion kits. The 22 Magnum. The 308 rifle paired with a 22 handgun. So just realize that. Being subscribed helps. That way you get these in order. And when they come out. If you're a regular listener, don't forget about Patreon if you want to become a patron. Also, if you don't want to sign up for a monthly subscription, I get that. There's some a la carte stuff on there. I get asked all the time about practical shooting drills. Well, I just did a video on there that's a bunch of clips of practical real-world handgun shooting drills. You know, that probably will pay for itself if you put those into practice and practice those instead of just going to the range and turning money into noise. You know, what's a box of ammo cost? Anyway, those are on sale. If you go to the shop on Patreon, you don't have to become a member. You can just buy it. And check out some other cool stuff that's in the shop as well. With that, I'm going to throw in a bio for this, and then I will plug in the mini-series episode. If you notice different audio quality, guys, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm doing the podcast and working as a private security contractor. So the audio quality, while not superb, hopefully is bearable. Just a little caveat there. Enjoy the episode. Blessed to have served in the military, law enforcement, combat veteran, private contractor, competition shooter, lifelong hunter, guide. Blessed by God that He got me through all those things so I could share this firsthand training, knowledge, experience with you to serve you today. Let's dive into the podcast. What is going on? I thought I would do an episode or maybe a series of recordings that I will compile together. I don't know if they'll be standalone. I guess we'll see how long this one takes. You know that I'm a big fan, if you've listened for any length of time, of if you're one gun for the end of the world, you got to grab one and go. For me, if there's no caveats, like it's situation X and you have to go to Y, there's no caveats like that, and you're just like, end of the world, pick a long gun, no other information. I'm going to probably pick a 12-gauge shotgun. So you guys are probably aware of that. However, I've been thinking on another idea. I may have mentioned it before, and the idea is this: a semi-auto or a scout rifle type configuration 308 rifle. Wait, there's more. Paired with a 22 handgun. Mull that over. Ruminate on that for a minute. A 308 rifle and a 22 handgun. Now, the 308 rifle, as far as rifle rounds go, I think your best bet as far as a crossover round in 2024. It's not ballistically the best, I'll concede that, but as far as availability, as far as affordability to practice with, capability, and it's being available, not just the ammo, but in a wide spectrum of guns, the 308 is is kind of it still. So it'll take anything in North America. You might argue for big coastal Alaskan grizzly brown bears, you want something bigger, but unless you live in coastal grizzly brown bear country, that's not really an issue. Even for interior grizzly, all right, 308 with the right load can be enough. And it's certainly enough for anything east of the Mississippi. It's certainly enough for everything pretty much everywhere else. And I live in an area where there are, I mean, there's not grizzlies at my house, but the state that I live in is that whole region is kind of known for grizzlies. And I would certainly much rather have that than what people debate about a 10 millimeter or a 44 Magnum. A 308, defecates on both of those as far as power goes. Just a rifle beats a handgun. And a 308 is a full-powered rifle. So you got that covered. You got your hunting covered. 308 is a great hunting round. It is a go-to hunting round, not just for like newbies, but for like go-to experienced guides and hunters. 308 is a fantastic round. It's got a manageable amount of recoil. It's got power. It's got accuracy, if the rifle's accurate, obviously, and the ammo's accurate. It's got a crazy wide variety of good ammo available. So it's great for hunting. And, it was developed for the military. Now, it's not as powerful as 30-06. You can cherry pick stuff all day long. It's just not. But it did accomplish the goal of I think, reaching the power of the old military 30-06 M1 Garand load. So, with that said, it's a powerful military cartridge. Our medium machine guns still use it. It was the last battle rifle cartridge. It's a capable battlefield cartridge. Now people will argue, yeah, but you can't carry as much as the 223. Granted, if you throw a caveat like I'm covering a lot of ground on foot, the scenario changes. But here's the thing. You're probably going to need less of it if you don't panic. If you just panic and just pull the trigger as fast as you can, then ammunition's probably not your problem. But you can carry more 223. I will totally concede that, and there may be times where that's a wiser choice, especially if you live east of the Mississippi. I don't. But you're likely to need less rounds. If you are hunting and you're trying to move around place to place, and you're not sitting in a deer stand, right? You're trying to get from one place to another, and you jump a deer and you shoot that deer, and you get the exact same shot with a 308 and a 223, even with both have good quality ammo for hunting, not Full Metal Jacket or something crazy. Right? You get that jump shot on a deer, you're much more likely to anchor it and be able to find it with the 308 than a 223. So if you jump shot that deer with a 223 and then you can't find it right away, how much time and resources and calories in this hostile environment are you going to spend wandering around looking for a deer? Right? So you're likely to need less ammo with the 308. Also, it does really good for barrier penetration. It's one of the reasons we still use it for medium machine guns. It's a good round, the 308. So I don't think that needs a lot of defense. Now, the big downside to this is it's not great for small game hunting, right? It's not great for a lot of that stuff. It's not great for carrying a lot of ammo. It's not great for very small game, doves, quail, things like that. So, the 22 handgun. You might think, well, why would you want a 22 handgun for the apocalypse? Well, because you can carry a lot of ammo. The gun itself is usually pretty light, pretty accurate. Here's the thing, though, with this. You have to be a really good handgun shooter. A lot of people have a hard time hitting a I'm just saying, the average police officer, a lot of times they'll struggle with the qual at 25 meters, getting a shot on an entire silhouette. And they train pretty regularly. As much as I dog on cops as not being gunfighters, they train more than the average citizen. Okay, which is not saying a lot, but it's saying something. And that's a man-sized silhouette at 25 meters, let alone a dove or a quail at 25 meters, or a pigeon, or many other things. So you have to be a good shot. But if you are a good shot and you can make the shot and you're confident you can make the shot, it'll get it done. Is it a great round for defense? No. What am I saying? It's as good as 9mm? No. But what I'm saying is that it's a good pairing, maybe for an apocalypse loadout with the 308, because you have a lot more bases covered. One, it's your backup now because you have a 308 rifle as your go-to primary, right? So this is an emergency weapon. This is no longer your primary. This is no longer your go-to. It's your backup. So I'm more comfortable with it. I'm more comfortable with the 22 as a backup gun than a primary gun, right? I don't generally carry a 22 on my hip for a primary carry. But that becomes less important if I have a 308 in my hands. So you got that covered. You got small game covered. You can carry a lot of ammo. You know, that's one of the arguments for the 22 long rifle. Now, if it's your backup and that kind of stuff, you know, a couple hundred rounds for the 22 don't weigh a whole lot. You know, a couple of those really nice, handy CCI mini mag sleeves. Having a couple of those ready to go, right? That's light and handy and quite a bit of ammo. They can be, again, crazy accurate because a lot of them are made with a fixed barrel. And again, it doesn't really matter unless you're a really good shooter. But if you're a really good shooter and you can wring out the accuracy of like a Ruger Mark IV target or something like it, right? That's a formidable weapon in the hands of a capable shooter. So I guess, what do you guys think about this? You know, mull that over, the 308 paired with the 22 long rifle handgun. It's a pretty neat idea. It gets a lot of the same bases covered as a shotgun, and you get more range, you get more precise, more precision. So it's arguably still not as good in some things. You go back to that jumping a deer scenario, I'd much rather have the shotgun with buckshot. That's going to be better, even than the 308 for jump shooting, a quartering away whitetail at 40 yards. But the 308 is pretty good, and the 308 gives me more range. As you know, if we're comparing ammo to ammo, 308 ammo is probably even lighter than 12 gauge ammo round per round. And I've got the 22 handgun, so if I'm shooting something really small, I'm carrying way less ammo, right, than a 12 gauge birdshot. You're still carrying usually an ounce and an eighth is a pretty standard vanilla load. An ounce and an eighth of just shot. Now, going back to that, I'm much more confident in taking small game with the shotgun than a 22 handgun. I have done quite a bit of handgun hunting. I do it because I love the challenge. I don't do it because it's easy. So if you're not a crack handgun shooter, and even if you are, you're more likely to put food on the table with the shotgun. So I'm not saying it's better than the shotgun. I'm saying it's an intriguing choice. It's an intriguing pairing. And if you were going to go with a 308, you may consider the 22 long rifle handgun as a good pairing for it. Just something, just an idea, right? Hopefully this is all up in the air and we don't have to actually do this in our lifetime. But, you know, times they are changing. Who knows? Watch and be ready. With that, I guess the 22 and the 308 for an apocalypse loadout.